we can talk about Mark Noble's record, and that does speak for itself. But in this particular instance here, you look at the West Ham team and they don't have a recognised penalty taker on the field, and everything's fallen in line to a point where it's essentially the last kick of the game, and the best penalty taker they have is sitting on their bench, and they have the possibility to bring him on. And he's not a 20-year-old, he's not a 21-year-old, he's not a 22-year-old, he's a 34-year-old. This is a guy who I played with, this is a guy who I know his penalty record, is a guy who loves that club, a guy who believes it can step up in that moment. And just to sort of have a counter-argument to that, according to the logic where we're saying somebody's not ready to score or take a penalty, it's like saying you're not ready to come on and to start a game and score in the first minute because you're not warm yet. Like, the skill is the skill. It can happen, he can do it, but because he's missed, then people will want to associate the reasoning with the fact that he's only been on the field for 10 seconds. But for me, that doesn't matter. It was a poor penalty, as Frank said, but I think that's the bigger thing as opposed to the fact he wasn't warm.
Stevie, as a manager, would you have done it?
If I don't have anybody else on the field who either wants to take it or is capable of taking it, then I would make that decision.
Is that possible on a Premier League team? You don't have anybody on the field that's capable?
At the end of the day, you have to think rationally when you're on the sideline. And if you're David Moyes, you're thinking rationally that I have nobody who wants to take this relay. I've got probably 2 or 3 that would do it, but being forced into doing it and wanting to do it are 2 different things. Whereas I've got an experienced guy. I think that's the crucial point Nedum makes there. It's an experienced guy. It's an old head. It's a guy that's been through the ringer. So I only hope that there's nobody else capable, because personally I wouldn't do it if there was just one that I thought was capable of doing it.
Where do you come down on it?
I don't think that your first meaningful participation in the game should be taking a penalty kick. It's an unnatural thing to do anyways in the game. It is not completing a pass. It is not getting on the end of a cross, so that does not equate in terms of what Nedum is talking about. Yeah, if you're a striker and you come in and your first touch is to be on target, you're used to making the runs. You're used to getting in between defenders. You're used to finding yourself inside the 18-yard box. It's not quite the same when it's a penalty because it's an unnatural situation. Everybody's outside the box. There's nobody around you. It's you and the goalkeeper. And that's your first meaningful touch on the ball. I don't like it. And I said that even before he was taking the penalty, because I don't want to hear this hindsight 2020. It was my position in the Euros. I agree with Frank there. And it's my position now. Your first meaningful touch on the ball should not be taking a penalty kick.
I'm told that Nedum and Frank are both waving their hands frantically. Nedum, we'll give you the first word here.
Okay, so I just wanted to say, I understand what Ali's saying, but Mark Noble has taken 26 penalties, I think, for West Ham United. The next person on the field there might be Declan Rice with 2. If you have that sort of balance in the team in terms of who can and who can't take one, then I think you do have to weigh up, as Stevie was saying, and as well with Mark Noble, like, this is the sort of added nuance of West Ham. This is his last season for West Ham. So he's sitting on the sideline thinking this is a great opportunity. He would have been excited to take that penalty kick. He wouldn't have feared it, say maybe what would have happened in the summer perhaps. He would have really looked forward to that moment to come on to take that penalty. So if he wants to take it and he's your captain and he's your penalty taker by, I couldn't even tell you who the second penalty taker was. If that's the case, then surely you have to consider him.
Frank?
The second penalty taker is Declan Rice, and De Gea said that he was expecting to see him shooting the penalty. When he saw Noble, he was very surprised. I can call myself a specialist when I was a football player, because I shot like 50 penalties during my career. You would have asked me, I would have been on the bench. You would have asked me to go and shoot a penalty and say, forget about me. Forget about me. I'm not ready for that. I'm not into the game. I'm not participating at the game. And like Ali said, I'm not ready for that. And even if you're 34, even it would be a nice dream or the nice ending because you are in your last year of maybe your career or your season with the Hammers, you can take the risk of that becoming a nightmare. I want to see Noble tonight at home, with having a big party by missing the penalty. Really, it's not a very good idea, and I wouldn't have taken that penalty for sure.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.